I'm so excited to be here today to tell you the story of how the Department of Transportation is modernizing our approach to sharing, managing, and developing our geospatial data by leveraging the cloud. And I'm going to tell you about some of the obstacles that we've overcome along the way. This year, our department is celebrating our 50th anniversary by honoring our heritage of promoting safety, opportunity, and innovation. At DOT, we're always looking for ways to deliver projects for the American people that are better, faster, and cheaper. And the expectations for our data and information systems are just as high. We have to be certain that we're providing our stakeholders and leaders with the best possible data and information to guide national transportation policy and investments. Our leaders and stakeholders know the importance of data-driven decision-making, but if we keep operating our legacy data systems, we won't be nimble enough to answer the important questions about how well the system serves the American people. And that's why we've embarked on modernizing our data to the cloud. It's not been easy. There are a number of ways to stop any IT project in government, but here are 5 roadblocks that are especially important when you're talking about the cloud. The first one is procurement, everybody's favorite, right? And then there's another fun one, is privacy and security. So just walk into any meeting and just ask, what about security? And then run out of the room, right? You're done. Having the right organizational resources with the right experience, addressing performance and scalability in an uncertain environment, and communicating the benefits of the effort are very important, and they can be challenging in the cloud. So let's talk about how we've dealt with those at the department. So navigating procurement in the cloud can be challenging, and you've got more contracting vehicles than you know what to do with, right? For us, we saw our existing enterprise agreement with Microsoft as a way to get to the Azure cloud for our geospatial project. The hard part really was estimating our needs. And the trick here is really to involve your procurement team early so they can understand your requirement and get them connected with the right expertise so they can help manage cost risk for your project. The second issue around privacy and security is, you know you have it, but is it really safe? We've spent a good deal of money and time in the government trying to build FedRAMP so that agencies could use cloud providers that meet our requirements. But when you're actually leveraging a cloud authorization, the roles and responsibilities for your team are so different. It's important to be empathetic to your security team's needs and walk them through the new model. Document processes as you go. Share. And be committed to learning and iterating, because you're going to be stuck in neutral otherwise. If you didn't notice, a lot of this has really been about people and not about the cloud. At DOT, we're experts on transportation data and even data sharing, but not the cloud. And the trick here is to get people out of their individual silos and put them into an integrated team. So you've got your folks from the mission, the shared infrastructure services group, everybody's got one, your procurement, your security team, getting them all in a room along with your technology partners. In this case, it's Microsoft and Esri for us, is absolutely important. You won't be able to overcome the challenges if you let everybody stay in their cubes or their offices. In the cloud model, remember that you're also not just getting the services, you're getting the expertise of your partners. Use that. You don't have to do this by yourself. When it comes to performance, scalability, and communicating the benefits, the easiest way to get past these is to just prove it. A prototype is worth 1,000 meetings, as the saying goes, right? So now that we're on our cloud infrastructure, we can actually do the important work of visualizing, analyzing, and sharing our data. And we're going to try to test out a few of those new cloud capabilities to make sure our stuff doesn't break when the chief of staff looks at it, because some stuff did. So Daryl and I are going to walk you through a few examples of how we've built a couple of quick prototypes to prove out these capabilities in the Azure cloud. The first analysis is of the new traveler analysis framework that we developed, which is a predictive point of view of personal long-distance travel across the nation. There's like 9 million combinations of county to county across all of the country. And we released this data set the same way we always do. We put a file on the internet, and we hope that somebody would look at it. In 2 weeks, we were able to build this prototype, and we'll walk through it. So let's take a look at county-to-county passenger travel across different modes like auto for business purposes. South by Southwest is coming up, so let's look at Travis County, where Austin is. So we can see on the map, we are showing person trips by car in 2008. You want to see the forecast in 2040, we can just click that and see the increase in travel. If you want to look at other modes, that's easy. Let's click on rail. Austin's kind of boring. There's really only one train line. So let's take a look at Los Angeles. When we zoom into Los Angeles, you'll see the train lines going from Seattle, Chicago, and New Orleans. But there's a big gap in West Texas. If we overlay the rail lines and the stops, we'll see that there's no stops in that area, which is obviously limiting travel and accessibility. We wouldn't have been able to put all of this data on the map and click through it this quickly if we didn't have our data in the cloud and we didn't use the cloud capabilities to visualize this. Just yesterday, the secretary was at the Brookings Institution, and he announced that we're going to embark on building a national transit map. And let me show you why that's so important. Let's take a look at some analyses for transit access. This app's going to analyze statistics about populations inside and outside of walkable service areas. So when you zoom into a city, you can see the walkable areas in green around transit stops, and that shows a lot of good information about how people can access it, and downtown looks great, right? But if you look in the orange areas, that's where people can't walk to transit. And when you click on those orange areas, you can get a statistic. There's still 5,000 some odd households that also don't have a car. Those people are stuck. They're not well served. And we need to figure out ways that we can go ahead and connect them back to jobs, education, and healthcare. We can also look at who needs more transit options based on income and other demographic variables. So these census block points are sized by the number of bus trips available during rush hour. And we can see there's a lot of trips downtown. But if we color code those points by the percent of households without access to a car, we'll see that the darker points mean fewer households with cars, right? And there's a lot of people downtown that don't have a car, but they have a lot of bus trip access, so that's great. But if we look around outside the downtown area here, we'll see small dark points where people have fewer cars and fewer bus options. Let's overlay this with poverty. So the redder the area, the greater the percent in poverty. And we can see a couple of poor areas here that have small dark points, meaning those residents don't have mobility options. Compare that with a more affluent area, where even though there are fewer trips, more people have access to a car. This is how we can begin to understand how transit does or does not connect America. Thank you. So where are we today? We've moved past most of the barriers to getting to the cloud, and we've been able to demonstrate the performance and scalability. And when we look at what it costs, it's half of what our legacy approach to hosting those capabilities were. Half. Just as important, this modernization allows us to support the department's vision of safety, innovation, and opportunity with data, with GIS, and with the cloud. We're focused on how the transportation system can be improved to connect our people with jobs, education, healthcare, and other important services, how we can put people to work, and how we can revitalize communities by addressing persistent inequalities in the transportation system. With our new cloud infrastructure, I'm confident that we will be able to give our leaders and stakeholders the data they need to ensure equitable transportation services for all Americans now and in the future.